Greetings, chess fans. You're probably a bit surprised to see me coming back with yet another video from the FIDE World Cup, because in the last video I kind of said that that's it, I'm done and I'm going home. There's going to be no more videos unless something happens. And guess what? Something did happen yesterday, and I was kind of involved in the event. So, what I'm talking about, there's the game of my colleague from Lithuania, Titas Stremavicius, against Wesley. So I'm probably you already have heard of the story, so I'll try not to spoiler you how it ended, even though I have the stalemate drama clickbait on my title. But I just want to share you with some backstory that you might not know. So anyway, I mean, we have been hanging out with Titas for most of the FIDE World Cup. Like, he lives next door to me in the hotel, so we usually go to have meals together. We talk about how things went down, etc. So usually all the Baltic players, they keep pretty close. Like, I'm from Latvia, he's from Lithuania, and yeah. So I will cover the game in what he played in the second round against Wesley. So Wesley obviously was a big favorite. The very first game they played against each other, it finished in a draw, where Wesley was pressing for most of the time, and then in the time scramble he was actually winning. So Titas got a bit lucky. And this is the second game, right? So let's see how it started. It started with knight f3, knight f6, c4, e6, and knight c3. And the first sign already that Wesley was looking for a fight is that he played bishop e7. Because a very popular continuation at the highest level is the move c5, which, by the way, Stremavicius plays himself. And after c takes on d5, there's either knight takes on d5 or c takes on d4, which has a very good reputation. I'm pretty sure Wesley knows all about this. So this is like the first signature move, is that he wants to possibly have more from this game. So c takes on d5, e takes on d5, and bishop f4. So we are going for some kind of Casped structure. And Casped structure is one of the most researched, one of the most popular pawn structures at a professional chess. c6, h3. This h3, I think it's necessary, because if white is careless and white plays something like e3, black might have a surprise move, knight h5, trade off white's powerful darks with bishop, thus giving black a bishop pair. And the bishop pair at the competitive chess is very important. So h3 makes an escape route for the bishop, queen b6. So again, highlighting that Wesley was being quite aggressive in this game. Queen c2 protects the pawn on b2. g6 is a pretty common move, threatening to play bishop f5. White played e3, bishop f5, and probably bishop d3 is just fine. But here Stremavicius played a very ambitious move, queen c1. I really like it, because like this setup of h3, it not only prepares an escape route for the bishop on h2, but also gives white a very interesting opportunity maybe to play g4 and stir up things. So this looks quite similar to one of the World Championship matches game between Damraja Gukesh against Deng Loran, like, which also featured not only c takes on d5, e takes on d5. So this is like a trend that is happening right now. So Wesley played a castle, a g4, so white is being very aggressive, and if the bishop walks away somewhere here, white might play bishop g2 or maybe even bishop d3, knight e5, and who knows, maybe you can even go for a long castle. Let's say knight e5, queen c2, a long castle, and this is what we call a hook, like h4, h5, and there you go. Let's have a lot of fun. So that's why Wesley played bishop e4, like he's again being a bit ambitious here. Bishop e2, knight e7, and should castle. And this is probably something which is quite difficult to understand from the club level player, because what the nut is this? So white played g4, and now he castles short. I mean, isn't the king weak? Well, I mean, if you're really good at the game, sometimes you know there are exceptions to the rule, and black is unable to exploit the weakening of the white king, and actually white does enjoy some space advantage. So here Wesley decided to take on f3, and play queen d8, trying to be solid. Queen c2, knight e8 is a small inaccuracy. Here according to an engine, he should have played knight b6. I suppose the threat is to play bishop d6, maybe try to get the knight on d6. That's like one of the rules for the Cosmos structure, that your knight typically belongs on d6 for black, and for white it's typically the d3 square, because like it controls all of the important squares. So here, after 98, Titas felt that he has to play e4, and it makes sense because he has the bishop pair, so he should be opening up the position. Maybe Wesley underestimated this. So d takes, bishop takes an e4, knight f6, threatening to either kill the bishop or win the pawn on d4, rook d1. And here, yeah, I slightly don't understand why Wesley did not feel the danger of his position. Like, he should have eliminated the bishop. Like, this light square bishop is a monster. Queen takes on e4, knight f6, queen f3, and white is tiny a bit better. Yeah, so maybe black has to play like knight e5. You know, otherwise white's gonna play d5 himself. And that's gonna be a problem. Like, white is very active here. So knight e5, trade it, and rook e1. So even in this position, like, white is pressing. And if you play rook e8, there's rook e5, threat to take on d5, double the rooks at the e-file. And if black plays bishop f6, there's going to be g5, there's going to be rook e7, and white is just playing the so-called free roll, like there's no risk against 2750 level player. I'm pretty sure this was the reason why Wesley so decided not to do this. He played knight c7, like he tries to occupy the d5 square. Bishop g2 now, Titas decided to save his last square bishop. Queen d7, and here white missed an opportunity to get a large advantage. Like, he could have played the beautiful move d5 immediately. And the point is that black's only move is knight c to d5. Now comes the g5 move. And after knight h5, bishop takes on d5, here actually black has to make the only move to survive. Because apparently c takes on d5, knight takes on d5, he can just resign. Either the bishop or the queen is falling for because of some threats like knight f6 or knight c7 or whatever. Yeah, so white is winning. And after bishop takes on d5, the only move is queen c8. So white's two bishops are hanging on f4 and d5. White still plays queen e4, very beautiful domination. Knight f4, queen f4, and white just keeps pressing, like rook d3, rook d1, h5. It's a symmetrical pawn structure, but white has a pretty significant space advantage. So this was a big missed opportunity for Titas. He played queen b3 instead. Knight e5, bishop e5. And here something unexplainable happened. Wesley so played rook fe8, which feels like a normal move. But this just begs the question, what are you going to do after g5? Like, g5 is always the idea for white. I can't understand what happened here. Because if the knight leaves, the d5 knight is under attack. If you take on c3, there's g takes and f6 intermezzo. This is a piece of cake move. Like, it's very strange. And apparently he had to play rook d8 here to extra protect the d5 square. White would still play g5 and probably take on d5 and play h4. And white is still pressing. Because, for example, f6, there's bishop h3, and how do you deal with bishop e6 stuff, etc.? So the white king is weak, but also the black king is not feeling very welcome in this position. Either way, I mean, this rook e8 is a sensational mistake. Like, it's very hard to explain. So I can only assume that Wesley was not feeling well or something. I don't know. Because now after g5, I mean, I talked with Titas after the game, like he also just did not understand what on earth was this. Because g5 is obviously incoming. And after knight h5, white would just take on d5, queen d5. Trade the queens, play h4, two bishops, extra pawn, the knight on h5 is disconnected from the game. It's going to take a wizard to save this game. So instead, Wesley decided to make knight x on c3 move. Now, obviously, white plays g takes on f6. So again, it's not clear what black was aiming for, because here, intermezzo check gives nothing. Here, let's say black plays bishop d6, there's simply queen e3, and thank you for the knight on e2. The knight is gone. That's it. So apparently Sok had miscalculated something, which is, I don't know what exactly. And after knight takes on d1, here f takes on e7 obviously is a move, and again the knight on d1 is stuck. And after knight takes on f2, here white actually has a choice. So white can play either bishop f6 and simply collect the knight. Or the other move is rook f2, rook e7, queen f3 also is probably winning. most likely black will have to sacrifice the exchange on e5 anyway, which is basically what happened in the game. Okay, so bishop f6 was played. Wesley is losing the knight. Rook e7, takes, rook f2, and this is just a technical phase. You would think, right? Because now after d5, bishop takes on d5, queen g5, rook d7. The question is, how is Titas Stremavicius going to win this game? Because he has a piece for 2 pawns. He should probably try to trade off the pieces, but it's not so simple because his king is also kind of weak. And black's only chance is to leave the queen on the board and try to deliver some sort of a perpetual check or try to trade off as many pawns as he can. So what happened here is that Stremavicius decided to trade the rooks of the queen e5, rook d1, even though it was Wesley who forced it, but he didn't really have a choice. Engines kind of disagrees with the choice, but I think it's very human for white. I also would have done the same. Like, Engine tries to keep all the heavy pieces on the board and then somehow play for the domination with a weak king. All right. Anyway, like, this is pretty human, and we inevitably go into this position. So Stremavicius is trying to rearrange the pieces. Here we go. And when I saw this position live, like, obviously I saw the Engine evaluation that white has like plus 2.5 advantage, which means white is winning. But I was not sure, like, if this is such a clean victory, to be honest, because what's the plan? I mean, black is not going to trade the queens. Black can just stand and do nothing. So what do you do? And I think this is what Titas was trying to do. He was trying to get the king to the queen side. Like, he put the bishop on e2, the queen on the 3rd rank protects the pawn, maybe queen d3, b3, a4, and march with a king, right? Yeah, that kind of makes sense, but check out Wesley's response. So f5, king h6, let's say he starts to do this. He starts to run with a king. King g5, queen d3, queen g3. So maybe even queen g3 at some point later. So how far can you go with a king, actually, to the queen side? Because if you decide to trade it, like here, and play bishop f3 here, and here, and here, like, it could be pretty similar to what happened in the game, and this maybe already is not winning, right? And okay, maybe there's even a stronger move like this. Yeah, I think this is actually black is winning. So that's what I'm saying. This is not so obvious that the king can easily make it to the queen side. So what happened here is that Wesley played a very smart defense, king h6. Like, he offers a queen trade, but says, I'm going to activate my king. I think it was a genius defense. And here, according to an engine, white has to reject the queen trade. And after that, I still don't know where's the win. Like, somehow, slowly, carefully, you maneuver and you win the game. Like, I'll have to do very deep analysis of this. I think it's definitely not trivial victory. So he allowed a queen trade, king f4, bishop g8, bishop d7, g4. And guess what, guys? This apparently is a draw. Like, I think that Titas did everything humanly possible. Like, you cannot possibly know that this is a draw. I would have done this. Everybody would have done this. Like, you simplify the position. How can you know that this is a draw? Because, like, on the queen side, the pawn even has the right corner. It's the light square, right? And here, for example, if white plays king e2, I was actually thinking about this opportunity, maybe not to take on g4 automatically. So g takes on h3, I think black has to eliminate these pawns. King e4, king g1. The key is that this is not winning. Because check out this line. Let's say I take with a bishop. I protect those pawns. It feels like it's winning, right? And now what? Like, this is a very famous endgame. Something from the pawn endgames where the king alone cannot take care of these pawns. They support each other. And the bishop is tied to the defensive pawn on b3. It's a draw. This is a draw. Like, king h3, king b4. Check out this line. Everything is traded. It's just a draw. Right? So what happened is that Titas took it. He thought it's a win. And g3 and bishop c6, and basically it feels like it's GG, right? And that's why everybody was baffled. How is this a draw? I mean, engine says it's draw. So king e5, king e3, and apparently here black was still drawing, but the defense was pretty sick. Like, I am not even sure I fully understand it. Like, king d6, king e5, let's say a4, a5, and here black is like literally making the only moves. For example, king king d6, king d4, king e6, and you cannot go to the queen side because the black king is marching to g4, which is kind of understandable, and there's no progress. But again, I'm also not sure why would I want to fix these pawns to the queen side first? And if I try to run here, black is eliminating the pawn on a4. I don't have time for bishop c6 because there's going to be a g2 move. Yeah, it's very tricky. And I think I perfectly understand Wesley that he thought that he's just losing. Like, there's no chance. And he played move h3, which according to an engine is a blunder. But from a human perspective, it makes perfect sense because the pawn is like one step closer to queening. And apparently here, this is now winning for white. Because now if white puts the bishop on g2, king f3, king g3, white eliminates those pawns faster. Now, again, it's not obvious at all. I have never seen something like this. So king d6 here, king c5, Titas play b3, a5, king d3. I know the key idea is that white is not going after the pawns on g3 and h2. He is playing to dominate the king. Because here you can always play bishop h1, bishop g2 and push the king away. Let's say b5, bishop f3, let's say king d6, king d4. For example, let's say b4. Actually, I didn't check this line. I think b4 you can takes and bishop g2 and play opposition here. And now you go here and you collect it and you protect the pawn on b3. Again, it's very, very tricky. Very tricky. And obviously he could go to the queen side defense. Like maybe here, king d6, king d4, king c7, king d5. I think eventually white should be able to dominate the king because of some Zugzwang, yeah, like this, for example. Yeah, so again, everything seems losing for black, but like there's a very narrow path to the draw. So you play b5, bishop f3, king d6, king d4. This is still winning for white. Bishop e4, king d5, king e5, king g4, bishop g2, king g5. All right. So we got to this moment. And now I would like to play you a clip of what happened at the chess.com broadcast. Because I was watching it during the live stream. And I noticed, obviously, they're covering this game because this would be a very big upset. So check it out. Just a second. I hope it's going to work.
Absolutely.
There we go.
King driven backwards. I mean, after Wesley went h6, so h3, sorry. After he went h3, you know, Titas has just been incredibly impressive. You know, he's done all the right things. He's just simply stopped the black kick.
Do you notice? There's my message. Actually, sorry, you cannot see it here. Like the replay button is over it. I will take, because I posted in chat, I will take some credit for Titas' success since we're usually dining together. So I posted this on chat and they decided to make it a feature chat on the chess.com broadcast and watch what happens next. I mean, check this out. Check this out.
From infiltrating the queen side, the right side, and this is from Neiksans. I will take some credit for Titas' success since we're usually dining together. And oi, 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 oi. Arturs, did you just jinx your dinner companion? Look at that. That's...
Yeah. Apparently, I jinxed him. I did jinx him. So, this is what happened. It's like pretty insane. And just as soon as they brought up the feature chat, right? Titas played a4. Titas played a4. And apparently now it's a draw. This is pretty sick because here the point is black plays b4, king e4, king g4. And at this moment, Wesley so resigned. So you're probably thinking, yeah, but it's winning, right? But no. It's a draw. Check out this line. Like, king e3, let's say black goes here, king e4. It seems that those pawns are falling. Black promotes his pawn, plays king h3. And where's the big deal? Like king f3, king h2, and king g1. So that's the big idea. Because of those pawns fixed to the queenside, king takes on g3 is a stalemate on the board. So after king g1, if you go here, I go back. I go back. I go back. You cannot go here. You cannot go here. Like, I mean, actually, maybe technically you can, but I mean, still play king h2, yeah, and the position just repeats. So there's no progress, and because of the pawns on a4, a5, and b4 for black, the idea for white doesn't work to play king e4. Now this doesn't work because g2 takes. The kings are marching here, here, here. We are running, and black makes it in time to c3. You see, and both sides promote at the same time, and it's just a draw. So this was pretty sick stuff, to be honest. Like, I've never seen something like this, and I was totally, like, shocked. Like, as soon as I posted it, I felt like I jinxed it, and the chat started to laugh. And yeah, and then Wesley just resigned. And again, like, this nuance here is very important because with a for example, with a pawn on a4 and b4, white will be winning in that race. And then in some occasions, with a pawn on b4, black will be drawing because he's running to the queen. So like, this is such a tricky endgame, right? So let me just play it out how it finished. In just a second, maybe I can pull it up again.
Small a pawn move. David, we have to break down. Why is the evaluation bar being so hard on this move?
I think he's blown the win. You have to take that pawn now. Well, I was going to say you have to take it, and then I turned the computer on. Apparently taking it is wrong. Pawn to b4 is the only saving move. I was going to say a4 is very natural. Maybe b4 was the way to go, just since the pawn is nearer the white king. It's easier to get at. The white king would later move on to grab the b pawn. Apparently pawn to b4 is the way. At first I thought it was wrong because after a capture, I could imagine the white bishop and the black pawns disappearing, and when the white king goes over to win the black a5 pawn, the black king would run back to try to get to some key squares to hold things off. It's a 50-50 for Wesley So, though. Apparently b4 holds, and to understand that, it's beyond my pay grade. Yeah. Ivanka, I think it's because later the black king will actually run towards the b3 pawn.
Yes. 2b1, and is that the same thing again? One diagonal now of, and
oh my gosh, wow, Wesley So, miracle man, he's holding on.
Yeah.
Ivanka, I think there's a Zugzwang. I think, assuming the king goes back, wow, we might have to analyze this. Titas going deep into thought now. He should have been thinking earlier. He had 6 minutes. He pushed the wrong pawn, but king to e3. Check this out. Let's say black waits. King h4. How does white... So if king takes pawn, forced to find it.
Push the pawn to a4. The pawn structure wouldn't have been fixed, so white might have been able to take on g3. There's that whole thing there. And there's also the kind of issue about if Wesley had tried to determine the pawn structure. What's happening?
Huh? Wait, what? Has Wesley So resigned? He offered his hand. There was no reason for Titas to agree to draw. Wesley So has resigned in a drawn position. Oh my...
Yeah, you saw it. Like, to be honest, I mean, obviously, both David and Yamanka, they had access to evaluation bar, so it knew it's a draw. But I mean, for a viewer like who has no access to the evaluation bar, it felt like it's a natural moment to resign, right? So this is exactly how it really finished, and I think it was the final move was b4, king e4, king g4, king e3, and it did indeed Wesley So resign. I think it's one of the most craziest moments in World Cup history, and I think it draws parallels to famously one Sam Shanklin resigning in also a fortress position against Anish Giri, I believe. But I mean, these things happen, and this is a very unusual position. I had never seen it in my life. And later I would also read the tweet by Anish Giri. He has never seen something like this before. So chess is really hard. So I did jinx Titas, but I'm very happy that everything sorted out well. And we talked about this with him at the dinner. Obviously, everybody was congratulating him here. He was very happy. But at the same time, he was angry that he let it slip up. And I said, listen, it doesn't matter. A win is a win, right? So for Wesley, of course, this is going to be very painful because I'm pretty sure he's going to remember this moment for the rest of his life. Yeah, that's the story from the FIDE World Cup. Hope you enjoyed it. And I don't think there's going to be more adventures coming up. So Titas Stremavicius makes it to the round number 3. Huge congratulations to him. Very happy to see him making this far. As for me, tomorrow I'm finally going home, and then I'm joining commentary for chess.com starting next Tuesday. So see you there. Take care.